Hello, happy February/March. I'm doing my screencast a little earlier because we are in the, I guess best way to call it is the transition phase of learning two math topics at once. The first one I'm going to talk about, and this whole screencast is going to be about, is division. After we finish division, which we'll probably spend, I don't know, maybe the month, a little bit longer on it, we will then move on to fractions. And fractions, we understand, are a little bit harder for students, and we also understand division is a little bit harder for students as well. Please note, as third grade teachers, we know that the subjects multiplication, division, and fractions, these are all brand new to the students. We know last year they had a tiny bit of exposure, but this year we're going to give them more exposure, and the goal of exposing them to some of those topics last year was that way they had a little bit of prior knowledge for this year. So this year we're going to try to build on that tiny bit of prior knowledge, and we're going to try to add some more so that way they have more and more. So that way when they go into 4th and 5th grade, they'll start knowing what to do. So fractions, just a quick overview. Like I said, as we know, we understand that students are not experts in fractions. We are going to show them fractions. That will be later on. We know that we just finished multiplication and we're starting division, so I know these are three big hard topics right back to back. But we understand that this is normal. We know that a lot of the students get a little nervous about these subjects, but that's why we try to teach them the strategies. That's why we just don't send them home with problems that say 2 times 2 answer. We want them to know what to do because we're not expecting them to memorize. We don't want them to do that. So for fractions, what I would love the students to do is just get some exposure to fractions. The best thing is this month and next month, have them start looking at things that have fractions. Great thing, have them help out during dinner time or maybe baking or some type of club. Maybe they have to cook something. Let them look at measuring cups. The measuring cups have fractions on them. Explain to your student that this measuring cup says 1/4 and 1/4 is different than 1/2. And start exposing them to seeing things like how fractions look because they're not like whole numbers. And let them start playing and building with like measuring cups, or maybe you have measuring spoons or something that has fractions on them. And let the students see how many half cups it takes to equal a whole. Or maybe when they are mixing like maybe Kool-Aid, they put in a half cup of sugar, and then you talk about how many more cups you need to make a whole using the half. Or maybe you want to start letting them use the 4th cup. Just let them start baking, let them start creating. In my classroom, I use a lot of the measuring cups. I let them see how different a 4th of water looks versus a whole cup of water. I also let the students know that fractions are not whole numbers, they're fractions. And we don't get too much into those big, huge fractions. We kind of mostly stay with the benchmark fractions like 8ths and 4ths and halves. Like that's what we start out with, and then we start moving them on. We really don't get into like the hundredths or the 99ths, which is good. So we don't want to confuse them. Please remember, in 3rd grade, we like to keep everything basic and simple. So let them start exploring. Let them start seeing what fraction cups look like. Let them, I know candy bars, people use those, or pizza. That's good as well. Maybe order pizza one night and say, in the pizza box, we have 8 whole slices. And if dad takes 1 slice away, now we had 8 pieces to begin with, and then the fraction bar, and then we have 1 part that's different. However you want to do it is completely fine with me, not saying there's a right or a wrong. So however you feel that you learn fractions the best is a good way for your student to learn fractions. Get them used to the terminology like numerator and denominator. Come up with clever sayings, maybe make up some rhymes, just have some fun with it. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a daunting task. You don't have to write it on paper. You could definitely use abstract materials, like I said, like pizzas or candy bars or measuring cups, or baking, anything like that. Anything to make it fun and engaging, because the more fun we make math, the more students will want to learn and do math. You could make a music video if your student is clever with making up rhymes or making up songs or stories, or maybe they want to make a book. You could make a YouTube video and post it to the class, as long as it's appropriate, and we could watch. And as long as it's educational, I would not want the student to say, 1/2 plus 1/2 is 50 halves. It has to be something that makes sense. So, but we could watch that as well. In my class, I used a lot of video games. An old video game that you can use and buy on Amazon, which we will be using in my class, is called Fraction Fireworks. The students love that because when they get the fraction correct, they launch the firework and the firework displays what the fraction was. So I think that's pretty cool, and they get to teach and they like doing that as well. So we understand fractions are hard, but not taking up the whole time about fractions. This screencast is primarily about division. So division, we in 3rd grade like to start off very nice and easy. Excuse me, meaning that in division we do not have remainders in 3rd grade right now. We will have some later, but not right now. We don't want to scare the students away. So what that means is that all of our whole numbers will have very nice even numbers. We won't have to worry about those odd numbers with leftovers and remainders. So we start off the students with a basic symbol like this, just the line and then the 2 dots on top. I think we'll draw a dot there, and I draw a dot there. So that's what we start off with. Yes, sometimes I introduce them to other division symbols, such as this one, and then eventually they move the students onto the division symbols that look like this. Sometimes they'll have it where it's a big fancy smancy no check mark division symbol like this. So you can go ahead and start introducing students to different symbols like that. I know some of them get very concerned because they only think there's one symbol that they can use, and that's not true. There's different symbols. So in our division, we always start off teaching students that it's the opposite of multiplication. For example, if the problem is 12 divided by 6, I hate how this thing will not make a dot for me, divided by 6 equals some mystery number, okay? So we tell the students that the mystery number is a way that we can think about it. Let me use red. Is that we can think, 12 is the product of a multiplication problem. So let's think about this backwards. Let's change some of these symbols. Let's completely erase the equal sign. I'm going to leave it. And let's just put an X as the multiplication symbol. Now let's think. The problem is saying, oh, and we must change the division sign. Let's erase one of the dots and draw an a line underneath the other dot. Now our problem is stating something times 6 equals 12. If we know our products of 12, if we know our products of 6, and we look at our multiplication chart, or if we use a multiplication strategy, we will see that 2, not 6, I'm adding. Miss M wants to add today. 2 times 6 equals 12. So that's one way that we think about it. Another way that we could think about it is we tell the students to use boxes and marbles. That's one way I tell my students. I'm not sure what the other teachers tell their students, but pretend we don't know the answer and pretend I did not just teach you the awesome way of looking at it backwards. Excuse me. So what we do instead is, let me put it back to black, and we need a division symbol because this is what many of their problems are going to look like. 12 divided by 6 equals something. So what we do is we take the little number 6, and that's how many boxes we're going to draw. We're going to draw 6 boxes. They don't have to be perfect, you just need 6 of them. So we always tell the students that the little number is the amount of boxes that you are going to draw. And since this really has nothing to do with rows and dots, we can just put the boxes anywhere. So I did 6. And I have to share 12 dots, and just to make it easy, I'm just going to make them pink. So I have to split up 12 dots in each box. So what I mean is that I'm going to start doing 1 dot in each box until I'm all out of dots, or marbles, we call them marbles. So I have 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So we have to think of the boxes as children. If you have children, you know that if you give one child something, you have to give the other child an equal value. Sometimes they probably like something bigger, but they have to have everything equal. So if this box is one child, all his siblings are going to want the same 1 dot that he got as well. So I have to count all my dots that I used in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, my goal was to use 12 marbles, and I've only used 6 of them. So I have to keep going. I have to keep going until I use all 12 of my marbles. So I have to go again. I'm giving him a dot, so all his siblings are going to want a dot as well too. So I have 1 dot for him, 1 dot for him, 1 dot for him, and 1 dot for him. And then let's see now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Did I use 12? I sure did. So I used my goal, and since this is all even, we have to look and see how many dots are in each box. Well, each box has 2 dots, or 2 marbles. So my answer is 2, because that's how many marbles there are in one box. That's one way you can do it. Another way that we are teaching the students is repeated subtraction, which is like repeated addition. So I'm just going to go back to my 12 problem, and all these may seem time consuming, but it's just a basic strategy. It's just an idea. Some students like these, some students learn their own. It's just an idea for them to try something different. Equals. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is we're going to subtract the little number from the big number until we get 0. So our target number is to get 0. So we just simply leave the big number here by itself. We go ahead and we're going to subtract 6. So we go ahead and put that there. Students still struggle with this. Please make them do that. If the number on top, so we split up like a racetrack, if the number on top is smaller than the number on bottom, we have to borrow, meaning that we cross 1 out from the tens, making that a 0, and we cross the 2 out, adding 10 to it to make a 12. Now we have to subtract 12 minus 6. 12 minus 6 is 6. Our goal is to get to 0 for our answer. So far we're at 6, so we need to subtract again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another subtraction symbol. Subtract 6 because 6 is our number that we are dividing by. And then since the numbers are the same, we don't have to borrow. 6 minus 6 is 0. When you get to 0, you simply count your subtraction symbols, because if you count the 6's, you will not get the right answer. So I use 2 subtraction symbols, so that means that 12 divided by 6 is 2, because I subtracted it twice. This is an example of repeated subtraction. The goal is to get to 0 using the numbers that they give you. The product, meaning the big number, for a multiplication, since we have not taught them the vocabulary yet, we subtract that from the other number, and the little number is the one that you'll be subtracting using all the way until you get to 6. So those are the 2 strategies that we use so far. There are some other ones that we use. Yes, they can use manipulatives. Manipulatives are like counters. They're like circles or pieces of paper. And they could maybe cut up 12 small pieces of paper and pass them out to 6 students. They can get up and physically move that around. Or they can separate their desk into 6 pieces and then start passing out the 12 pieces of paper. So these are all strategies that students can use to divide. We know that this is new. We understand that this is something new for them. And this is one of our new skills that we'll be learning. So keep studying how to multiply, because multiplication is not going away. We're going to be doing that all year. We're still doing our ice cream contest. And we also we don't do any division contests. That's 4th grade. And we'll be learning division. And yes, we will get into the part where we will not have nice numbers. We'll have to do a remainder. And then we will move slowly into fractions. So those are our next 3 big main subject topics that we will be starting on. I hope this video is helpful to you. As always, if you surf the internet, there's tons and tons and tons of videos. These are just some of the things that we're doing in the classroom. And please know things that you've done in the past or things that work for you may work for your child too. So let them see what you do as well. Until then, stay warm. Think of spring and summer, so that way it will come here faster. And I will see you in I'll see you in person hopefully soon, but I will see you on here in March or in April. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.